Yo-hoy, ahoy! It's me, Jay, from Simple Woods Life. How's it going? This is part 2 of our journey to make maple syrup.
Making small batch maple syrup. Simple.
Okay, so you've boiled and you've boiled and you've boiled and you've boiled and you've boiled. All your buckets are down to just a small pot. You've noticed that the color changes from sap to a light yellow to maybe a nice amber.
Huh.
That felt like a real psychotic face to make.
Hope I didn't look too crazy there.
Today we're going to be going through the final stages of transforming our sap into beautiful maple syrup. Oh, delicious stuff. Why would you want to make your own maple syrup? Well, number one, it's awesome to do stuff for yourself. You know what you're getting. You know what's in it. Massive in today's climate. Huge. And nobody knows what's in anything anymore. Well, I know what's in my maple syrup, and that's maple sap. How you doing? Nothing else. So if you're making it yourself, then you know what's in it and you can trust it. Number two, you get to take Big Maple down a peg. That's right, Big Maple, we're coming for you. Why would I spend $15 on a liter of syrup produced when I can spend upwards of $50 to $60 and hundreds of hours to make it myself? I mean, you figure it out. If you've seen part 1, then cool, welcome back. If you haven't seen part 1 and you are interested in how to take just a few trees and make yourself some delicious, healthy, wonderful maple syrup with limited tools and limited expense, this is the video that you want to see. I talk about tools, tapping trees, what to look out for, how to identify a maple tree, everything from collecting to storing to evaporators and boiling your first batch. And it's all small batch, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 trees, 20 trees even, I would say a small batch. Especially if those trees are smaller in diameter than, what the maple syrup experts say.
What they say.
Right? Big maple.
I'm a doctor too.
But you've boiled down and now you're thinking, okay, we're at the finishing stages. Sometimes that's not the same day for me, and I'll put it in a pot, put it on the garage floor, or put it in a fridge, depending on what the temperatures are like outside. And when I get to finishing the next day or the day after, that's what I'll do. I bought us this little, I call it a turkey fryer, but it isn't. Turkey fryers are usually those kits that come with a big crappy stock pot and a really chintzy burner. And who knows why anybody would fill that to the brim with molten, boiling oil. I've been there, I've done it. I'm not sure why I did it. Well, I was with my brother-in-law. We nearly died.
Still alive.
What I did was I bought an outside burner, and this thing is so much more substantial. Cast iron burner, it's really strong. Hook that up to a barbecue propane tank. We transfer all of our nearly finished sap to a big cast iron Dutch oven. Color's nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
And each stage I stupidly have not been filtering. So now we gotta filter the crap out of the...
That's okay. Once it's hot and we filter it through the Orlon filter, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's the only things I'm really seeing in here is like from the fire burn, like little
Sticks. Little cinders.
You have filtered it actually with all of the...
Oh, well, all the... Yeah.
Yeah, all the skimming.
Skimming, that's the word. Crank that bad boy to high and have ourselves a coffee, a Caesar, a beer, because this is going to take a while. Depends on how far along you are, but it could take anywhere from, 45 minutes to a few hours. So, chill out, dude. Put some tunes on. You're not going anywhere. The fun thing when you're at this stage of finishing, which is kind of the part 2 of 3, is to watch the bubbles, because you've been boiling and you've been seeing those massive bubbles just doing their things. Now it's kind of like froth. Woo! Miss Lady calls it butterbeer. Calls them butterbeer bubbles. 3 B's. When you see those butterbeer bubbles, Miss Lady says it's time to come off. So you'll watch it just froth, 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 froth right up, and it comes up to the sides of your pot, and you're like, and then it drops. And then it does it again, and it drops. And it does it again, and it drops. And you'll watch that sap level just keep getting lower and lower and lower. But if you're paying attention, and I would suggest you do, because you've been working hard for this the whole time, you're gonna start to see the sap itself starting to get very syrup-like in terms of being kind of viscous and thick. That's an awesome word, viscous. Anywho, from that point, we take it inside and we finish it on the stove. Miss Lady likes to sterilize mason jars because that's how we bottle, is we use mason jars currently. She puts them all on a pan, puts them into the stove at, I think it's about 7,000 million degrees. And when the jars are glowing red, she takes them out and they're sterilized. I can't remember exactly the specs, but if you really want to know, ask me and I'll have Miss Lady respond. Almost syrup is here. Have our Orlon filter. We're going to put a paper filter inside the Orlon filter, double filter. We're going to pour what we've taken down into this next guy, and off we go.
If you kind of just push the sides in,
Sure.
that'll help you keep it open without getting your hands jangled. Oh yeah, you can see it starting to...
It's definitely starting to syrup.
Yeah.
One thing we can't show you is the smell. And the smell is insane, guys. Unless you're a very unsure cat, you will have no doubt in your mind that it's nearly done and turned into maple syrup. Keep that thermometer on your pot or your Dutch oven or whatever's going on inside the house when it's on the stove. And I cannot reiterate, for the love of all that is good, please don't boil your maple. Please don't boil your maple syrup. Please don't boil your maple. Please don't boil your maple. Please do not boil your maple sap from start to finish on your stove. You are gonna have nothing but problems with mold, condensation, and I don't think your stove was meant to run that hot that long. It's not my house though, you do what you want. But the finishing stages, yeah, you wanna get it onto your stove because you can really control it. And we put that candy thermometer on it and we're watching it and you can see it just starts to become so syrupy. And at that point, Miss Lady and I start doing the finishing touches. And actually, that's a lie. I'm lying to you. I'm a fibber. Full of lies. Miss Lady does it because it goes from art to science. And she has a very sciencey head. Whereas I'm all about pretty pictures and she's all about numbers. So let me let you in on a little tip, little super tip, mega tip, giant, biggest tip you're ever gonna hear. Buy yourself a hydrometer. It's hydrometer time. We are talking, and I hate this phrase, but it's a game changer. She's a freaking game changer. This thing is the difference between having something that's pretty cool and damn straight, no fuss, no muss, maple syrup. And it's a pretty cool little tool. And that rhymed, which is always nice. What is it? Well, sir, it is basically kind of a thermometer, if you want to think about that, but there's a measuring system called Brix, which is all about measuring density and viscosity and so forth and such within liquid. And what we're looking for is getting ourselves to a certain sugar level. And at a certain sugar level, maple sap legally becomes maple syrup. Hydrometer time. She starts to take a measuring cup and fill that thing up. I don't know what you call it. That metal stainless steel tube with the handle, which fills it up just until it's a little bit Mumbler! Puts that hydrometer, which is basically an extremely delicate glass thermometer. So if you're anything like me, let somebody else handle it or buy two. And you let that go down into the sap, don't drop it. And once it's near the bottom, you kind of let it go. And what it should do, you've got numbers on it, okay? And you've got lines for hot. So when you take your sap off, you're gonna wanna measure its heat. You're gonna pour it in there. We do it hot. So you're gonna pour it in there, drop your hydrometer, gently place your hydrometer in. And if it floats to that hot line, you got yourself maple syrup. If it's still a little low, pour the sap back in, keep boiling. And just keep doing it. That's our approach. I'm not saying it's the right approach, but that's what we do. And we might have to fill that test tube up 15 times. But when it eventually gets to that line and it hovers right there, everything comes off. We good. We good. We good in the hood. And we have delicious, delicious homemade maple syrup. Small batch, handcrafted, private reserve, wood smoked, lovingly crafted maple syrup. And the ingredient is 100% maple tree. That's it. So making your own maple syrup is fun and it's easy in the grand scheme of things. The only real commitment is time. And I guess that's the only hard work, really, is time. And if you think about how many times you've set aside a few hours for nonsense, well, make this your nonsense. Why not? And at the end of it, even if it's just 1 or 2 trees, man, you're going to have memories and your brain's going to start going like, oh, how can I make that 3 or 4 trees? You know, what can I do a little bit better? You get to start thinking about all these different things. At the end of the day, it's that one sort of achievable thing from our pioneer past that we can hold on to.
How's it going, man?
And if you want to really do some neat deep dives on maple syrup, go back in history, read the stories. The indigenous people have so many stories about how maple syrup came to be. The stories that go all the way back about this simple thing that every spring is there. Whether you look at it or not, it's there. And in Canada, I mean, if you don't have a maple tree on your property, you know somebody with at least 1 or 2, like this is the wonderful thing. And it gives you a connection back to our past. And it sets you on a nice path of learning that you can do something yourself. You can do something with minimal tools, minimal effort, minimal cost. Yes, you can spend $10,000 and you can spend less than $100 and you're gonna get similar results in terms of maple syrup at the end of the day. Obviously, somebody who has a state-of-the-art maple arch and all the bells and whistles is probably gonna have a different bout of maple sap when all is said and done than you would with some plastic milk jugs and a candy thermometer, but you'll still have maple syrup. And if you invest in spiles and you invest in a drill bit and a hydrometer and its case and a candy thermometer, really that's all you need. Assuming that you own pots, pans, some kind of a drill, you know, you can do this for less than $100 Canadian. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. You've made maple syrup. You're now part of the group of people that have gone
Back in time.
You can trace now the actions that you've done to generations ago, all the way back to first settlers, all the way back to the indigenous people that first started this. It's wild. And it's a tale as old as the friggin' country itself, whatever country you're in, unless you're in a country that doesn't have maple trees. And then, you know, no. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But if you are, and you can, and you want to, and you do, you just made maple syrup. And that's amazing. And I'm proud of you. And that's just friggin' awesome. I'm Jay. This has been How to Make Maple Syrup, step by step. And I'm going to leave the must-haves and the nice-to-haves on the screen while the music plays. And just so you can have a good look at the whole breakdown. If you have any questions, leave a comment or go to Instagram, Simple Woods Life, DM me over there, or email me, simplewoodslife@gmail.com. I've got a Facebook page. You can chat with me over there, Simple Woods Life. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter or X, whatever it's called. Although I don't know why I am, because while I have so many followers, they all seem to be young women who want me to call them, and I am married, thank you very much. Also, my wife said that they're all robots. So, Terminator.